With me now, Democratic Senator Doug Jones of Alabama. He is a member of the HELP Committee as well as the Armed Services Committee. Senator, thank you for being back on the show.
My pleasure, Hallie. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So let's start with stimulus. What are the chances, in your view? Do you think you and your colleagues could pass some kind of a series of piecemeal packages to get relief to Americans?
Well, I don't know about piecemeal packages, Hallie. I mean, look, we have been working to try to pass a package of relief for Americans and folks in Alabama since the House passed the HEROES bill back in May. I think it's just a failure of leadership. I could not believe what I just heard from Senator McConnell. This is on him and in the president for not talking to folks back in June when we knew that payroll protection was ending, unemployment was ending, schools were starting. City and county governments were needing the money before they start furloughing people. So here we are coming up on the eve of an election, and all of a sudden they decided, well, maybe we can get something done. It's a failure of leadership. But having said that, Democrats have, and like myself, have always tried to figure out how we can get together to do something. And I'm still hopeful that we can get it done before the election or shortly after the election. We've got to make this happen.
OK, so that's a note of optimism. And at the top of this conversation, Senator, you said you didn't know about a piecemeal package. But that is what is on the table from the president and presumably will be from Republicans. So is something like a very narrow bill on airline funding or a narrow bill to help small businesses? Would you support those things?
I think a piecemeal package is the absolute mistake. The president
so that's a
continually
no. So you would not support a small bill on like airline funding? I'm sorry, Senator. Mistake. I just want to get you on that point.
I am just not going to support something that the president thinks that's going to help his buddies and not help the American people. I'm not going to do. I think it's important that we help all Americans and not just a privileged few that are already doing okay in this.
OK, so on the airline funding bill, then something that Nancy Pelosi has said she might be open to. If that comes to your desk in the Senate there, you would be a thumbs down or a thumbs up?
I don't know yet. I'd have to see what else is going on with that.
Okay.
I support the airline package because there are so many workers that would help, union members, machinists, and others. So I support that, but I don't want to just try to do a piecemeal. We need to do a big package, Hallie. That's the bottom line. Let's come to the table like we did with the CARES Act and unify around this, not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We can do this if people will just put their petty politics aside and let's get this done.
And you think the president is playing petty politics?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. Look, we've had these things on the table for a long, long time. And here we are, and he understands and knows that the people are needing this package as much as anybody. Everything has ended. The schools are open. It is a real problem. And here he is scrambling now to try to do something at the last minute when you should have been having these discussions back in June, July, August, September.
We are having this conversation, and you are having this conversation over on Capitol Hill against the backdrop of the president's positive coronavirus diagnosis now. As we track that, we've now learned that 7 of the 8 members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff are in quarantine after a Friday meeting with somebody who tested positive for the coronavirus. You sit on the Senate Armed Services Committee, of course. What is the impact of something like this, Senator? Are you concerned?
Well, I'm only concerned for the individual Joint Chiefs, and I hope the best for them. They're an amazing group of individuals. But I also know that there's contingency plans, and I think our military stands ready for all of those contingencies. The way that we're working, the way that we do things around the world, I think we're prepared. I think we're ready. I just wish the best for them on an individual basis.
Okay. The Senate Judiciary Committee over on your side of Capitol Hill is set to start that confirmation hearing. The story that we'd be talking about, I'm sure, constantly if it wasn't for what's happening with coronavirus all day. Those are set to begin on Monday. There is now Democrats on the committee who are writing to the Justice Department demanding any missing materials from her questionnaire. And I want to read this to you, referencing a 2006 newspaper ad calling for overturning Roe v. Wade that included her name in support. The White House has told NBC News previously that because Barrett did not write or edit the advertisement, it does not fall within the scope of the questionnaire. Do you think this is significant? Does it or should it impact her confirmation process?
Well, I think that we should get all the information about any nominee, and that's part of the problem we've got here in this rush to get this nominee through before the election. We're not going to get that. We didn't get that in Judge Kavanaugh's. You remember that Senator Grassley asked for a whole lot of documentation from the archives that they could not produce, but yet they went ahead with it. This is a pattern from Senator McConnell and Senator Graham to just rush through a nominee without regard to getting a full, fair, and review of all the documentation that's out there.
Before I let you go, I want to ask about your Senate race as well, sir. You are, I don't have to tell you, considered the most at-risk incumbent Democrat. Implications not just for you and your state, but frankly for the Democratic agenda overall. Are you satisfied with the level of support that you're getting from the DNC? And are you considering any strategic changes as this race gets closer?
No, we're working. We've continued to move in the direction that we want to move in, and I think the election is moving in that direction. This has always been about health care, Hallie. In Alabama, people are at risk for losing their pre-existing condition protections that they've had because of the attacks on the Affordable Care Act. They're at risk for losing their insurance totally. So, we're moving in the direction we've always thought we would move in, and it's going well. We're just going to continue to do that regardless of whether or not there's support. This is about Alabama. This is not about the DNC or the DSCC. This is about Alabama and what we're going to do moving forward to represent all the people of this state.
Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. Why don't you subscribe? It's really easy. Just click on that button down there. And for more news from MSNBC, click on any of these videos here for the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more videos from MSNBC with our newsletters. Head over to msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up.